Hey, how you doing? Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for taking the time to speak to us. Last time we were in the studio, Easier had just come out, so I'm excited to delve deeper into the entirety of the album with y'all today.
Fantastic. Sounds good to me. Dude, that feels like a while ago, doesn't it? Easier?
Yeah, but it's the first single off Come. I don't think
Huh.
we knew that at that point.
No, it feels like a long time ago that Easier was kind of starting the whole calm process for us. Yeah, we dove in with that single and then kind of trickled in a bunch over the coming months, and then we went on tour and then got back to the album and put it out. Yeah, it's kind of been a strange journey, particularly with what's going on now.
I was just going to say, how is life in quarantine treating you at the moment? Is it weird?
It's been odd, and a little, obviously very different than the usual way we put out an album. But yeah, I think we're just trying to, focus on the fans and do whatever we can from home. And yeah, I don't know, try and keep busy and make music and release music. So it's not so bad.
Is there anything you took for granted before that you wish you hadn't now, like toilet paper? Are you running into any problems?
Toilet paper is an odd one for me. I don't feel like it's that a necessity. I was definitely worried when I couldn't find any food. I've been to the grocery store a couple of times, and they're just starting to get food bags, which is good. But the first time I went to go get food, I was like, oh, geez, I don't know what I'm going to do if but then I don't get any more food back. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I miss just normal stuff like going and get a coffee and like just kind of being around friends is something you take for granted every day for sure.
For sure. And now I have a lot more time. So my new routine honestly consists of turning on Calm at least once a night. It does calm me down.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. How you doing? How's your quarantine?
So far, so good. I mean, your album made it better.
That's good.
I know you're on the line. I want to congratulate everyone who was involved, all the guys, whoever created this album. To me, the album has no skips. It opens really strong with the statement track, Red Desert, and ends with a softer, more beautiful ballad, High. So did you have a vision for the order in which these tracks would appear on the album? Were you looking to tell a story from beginning to end with this?
Well, thank you very much for the kind words. That's very sweet. We, it's hard. I don't think there was a particular story in mind. We definitely wanted to start with Red Desert. It was one of the first songs that kind of led the charge for the rest of the creative of the album. And I think it's a really strong vocal opening and kind of a bit out of nowhere. And I like the way the verse opens with I've been asleep so long. I thought that was really cool. And then the idea of putting High at the end was, it kind of, I don't know. I feel like we don't usually put a song like that at the end of an album. And it was just different for us to have like, it leaves you not happy and not sad. It kind of leaves you almost wanting to play Red Desert again. I in my opinion.
It's a mellow note. I really like it. I think it's a different direction for ending an album, but I also think it's a good conclusion.
Yeah, thank you. I think it doesn't really go like, we thought about the album track listing, obviously, but because there's already so many songs out at that point, it was we kind of, I don't know, went how sonically it should sound as an album as opposed to a story being told, because at the moment there is a story throughout the album, like there's a thread of lyrical content, but it's like it's not in any particular lyrical order, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but sonically it does seem to come together pretty nicely, especially because fans are introduced to the album with songs that they've already heard, which is a good way to ease into the new.
Definitely. And we definitely that was definitely, I don't know, we didn't want to start with like 1 through 4 or 5 singles, but it definitely was like the songs were released in that order for a reason. So we put Red Desert there, and then it goes into No Shame. And kind of No Shame is very like, No Shame is probably like the song from the album that makes, I don't know, kind of represents the album the best. That's why the tour is called that as well. So it was really important to have that somewhere at the start as well.
And the production on Wildflower really got me. I thought that was so cool. Definitely one of my favorites on the album. So who produced this record, and what was the process of finding the sound for that particular track? Because sonically it does feel a little bit different from everything we've heard so far.
Yeah, so Wildflower is kind of a wild card. We did most of the album with Andrew Watt and Ali, and then we did a couple songs with our friend Matt Pauling. And then this one was the only one with someone we worked with on the last album with Rami Cube, and I forget his last name, but he's from Sweden. His name's Oscar, and he did the production on this. And you're totally right. It was a bit of an outlier for this album. Oscar Gores is his name. And yeah, it's a bit of an outlier for this album. It shows the brighter side of 5 Seconds of Summer, which is almost super exciting because I feel like this album for me lyrically was cathartic in that it does dwell on kind of some darker moments, and some of the songs realize that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, there's hope, and you move forward. And this song is very much like you're out of the darkness, if that makes sense, and you're very like, it could be, I know, a kind of a new lyrical trend for us, which we haven't really had before. We don't write too many happy songs, I suppose. Yeah, and I love this song. I love the way it comes in, like the kind of Queen, Beach Boys-esque harmonies that we're going for. Yeah.
The beginning reminds me a bit of a Harry Styles song for some reason, his new stuff. But you did talk lyrically and emotionally. Like, this does feel to be the most honest and vulnerable album that you guys have had to date. And the album was almost entirely written by the band. So how difficult or easy was it to collaboratively write and share those experiences with one another? Did you learn things about yourselves as a group that maybe you didn't know before?
I think we always have a huge part in writing, but this one had a few songs where it was like Red Desert and Lonely Heart are just us four and producer, like Matt Pauling, who's a friend. He wrote as well, but like there was a couple songs that just had us, and a lot of our songs we collaborated like with Andrew Watt and Alex Tamposi and like all these huge songwriting names. I think it was cool for us to have some songs on this that kind of just came from us hanging out and not thinking about it too much. I think that's why we said like the song was written just by us on it. But yeah, I think you're always gonna learn stuff about yourself and your other bandmates, and as time goes on in a band, you realize what strengths and weaknesses you have and what you can work on and what you can get better at. And like maybe you have a type of idea that you have at home, and then as time goes on who you should take that to and who you can, like maybe I'll have an idea and take it to Callum because it's kind of his vibe, or to Ashton or Michael or whatever. But yeah, you definitely learn about each other, of course, and about yourself a lot too.
And do you have a song that personally means the most to you off this album? Something that holds like a track that holds a special place in your heart, and why that is?
I think I love High, but I think the one that I love the most is The Best Years or Best Years. That song I think is very sincere and acknowledges like kind of past mistakes, but also, like I said before, moves forward with kind of your life. And at the end of that song, you feel like, well, for me anyway, because writing it, like it just felt very cathartic. And when we finished writing that, I felt like I understood something more.
For sure. I do want to get into Old Me.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that Hannah Lux Davis directed the music video.
Yeah.
What was it like meeting the younger version of yourself on set?
Yeah, Hannah is awesome. She did No Shame as well. And we shot this in Australia, so it was even crazier to have, we'd never really done a music video in Australia. So to meet the younger versions of ourselves and them also have Australian accents, it was even trippier. It was cool. They were super sweet and they were really good, professional. Their parents were there. It was cool. I love that video. It's one of my favorites we have. Kind of goes through our career and our sort of journey as a band, step by step, which is cool.
Did you teach the younger Luke any tips or tricks on how to properly portray you for the music video?
No, he was killing it. I saw Ashton teaching mini Ashton how to spin a drumstick. I didn't have too much for my guy. He was like, I talked to him and he was super nice, and I don't know, they were just, yeah, kind of, he was killing it. He was already, he was much less shy than I was at his age.
And you, of course, what's the most important thing you've learned from your younger self, would you say, whether it be career related or personal?
Um, I think I'm very, like, especially when I was younger, I was very a little bit quiet, shy, and very nervous about kind of following what I thought or my instincts as a musician, even just on a musical level, my instincts. And I think I trust myself more these days to kind of know that I'm on the right path without having to like kind of get anyone's approval, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I do want to jump back into the name of the album. I found it interesting. I was like, there's no track named Calm. And then it took me a minute to figure out it's an acronym for your names.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also a good message for the times. I feel like it fits really well.
Yeah.
Do you see this album as a full circle moment for the band, like another self-titled album?
I think, yeah, it's interesting. It's got a lot of layers to it. Particularly now with what's going on, it's taken on a new meaning with Calm. But obviously it's Callum Ashton, Luke and Michael, and it's something that our fans called us early days and still sometimes do to this day. So they kind of named it years ago when we first kind of came out. It just represents the four individual members of the band and how important that is. And I think it definitely shows growth and speaks to where we are in our lives at the moment.
And what do you want fans to experience when listening to this album front to back?
I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that. I feel like we always put everything into albums, but I feel like we put a lot into this album. Lyrically, tried to challenge ourselves, and I hope they listen to like a bunch of the musicality we threw into this, which they always do, because they're awesome. But they'll like pick out things that even I don't pick out in the first listen, like all the big harmonies and like backing vocals and stuff. I hope it's just like a bit of a musical and lyrical journey for people.
And I really hope that we get to hear all of these songs live. I know you guys are doing the No Shame tour. Hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed that it's still happening this summer. So have you It's okay. Have you started rehearsals, and what can we look forward to?
We did start rehearsals a month and a half ago or something, but obviously we can't have a crew together at the moment or even be together as a band. But yeah, I think I'd love to play a lot of this album. It feels like fans are really are resonating with it. Obviously play a mixture of songs, but it'd be cool to play a bunch of these songs, and hopefully we can do the No Shame tour at some point. Hopefully it goes ahead, which I'm sure it will. We'll make it happen. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of push the boundaries again. Every album we come back with, we try and push it and try and take it one step further and see what we can do as a full-piece band.
And before we sign off, I'd like to open the floor and have you send a message to your fans. Thank them for listening to the interview.
Yeah, our fans are the best fans I've ever seen or come across. Just want to thank you for listening to the album. Hopefully you like it, and I hope we can see you soon. I'm sure we'll see you for a show one way or another. And yeah, thank you very much for listening.
And thank you so much, Luke, for joining me today. And I hope that we'll be able to speak sometime in the near future in person once this is all over.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.